The art of decoding the deceptive spectrum of eyelid lesions is a useful asset. Vincent van Gogh truly said, "The great artist is the simplifier," and here is our attempt to simplify the complex and diverse spectrum of eyelid tumors by emphasizing on whether to worry or not to worry about the lesions ranging from innocuous benign to alarming malignant ones. Aristotle has accurately quoted that the aim of art is not to represent the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. The tumors of the eyelid constitute approximately 5 to 10% of skin cancers and 15% of all face tumors, and it is important to understand their origin and classification. Tumors arising from the epidermis could be categorized into benign or premalignant and malignant lesions. Squamous papilloma. It is basically a wart-like lesion, commonly seen in middle-aged or elderly individuals. The lesions could be sessile, that is broad-based, slightly elevated, and often with smooth surface, or pedunculated, that is elevated with rough or convoluted cerebriform surface. They may present as solitary or multiple lesions, similar to color of adjacent skin. Even though rare, but a change in color vascularity indicates malignancy. Seborrheic keratosis, benign cutaneous lesion, tan to brown minimally elevated, hyperpigmented plaque, which gradually attains a more elevated or dome shape. It has fissured irregular surface, usually mobile. Basal cell carcinoma affects fair-skinned adults between 50 to 80 years of age. The lesions commonly involve the lower eyelid, medial canthus, upper eyelid and lateral canthus in that order. The nodular lesions present as sessile or dome-shaped, pearly, waxy or translucent lesions, best seen on the rolled edges, which gradually enlarge with development of central ulceration, which often bleeds, leading to the nodular ulcerative variant. The less common morphiform or sclerosing variant occurs as pale, flat lesion with ill-defined margins. When the lid margin is involved, loss of cilia is often noticed. Squamous cell carcinoma can be divided into carcinoma in situ and invasive squamous cell carcinoma. The lesion is sessile or papullar, ulcerating centrally. It can also assume a papillomatocystic appearance with or without a cutaneous horn. Sebaceous gland tumors. Sebaceous gland carcinoma is of utmost importance and significance as it has an aggressive course, high local recurrence rates, ability to metastasize to regional lymph nodes and distant organs, and has notorious mimics and masquerades. It is imperative for the ophthalmologists to identify the two most common presentations: solitary eyelid nodule, which mimics a chalazion, and diffuse eyelid thickening, which mimics a chronic blepharitis. Eversion of the eyelid is an important practice to reveal a concealed tarsal component. Solitary lesions have deeper origin and are firm nodules which change color to yellow on enlarging and cause loss of overlying cilia. In advanced cases, it can even present with ulceration on the surface. The diffuse lesions with intraepithelial involvement can present with pagetoid spread across the tarsal, bulbar conjunctiva, cornea, and even caruncle. Blepharitis, on the other hand, is more often bilateral and causes more thickened and indurated eyelids. The melanocytic tumors. Melanocytic nevus could be junctional at basal epithelium, compound nevus deeper into the dermis, and dermal nevus involving the entire dermis. Nevi could be melanotic or amelanotic and even peripunctal. Kissing nevus is a variant which develops before the embryonic separation of the eyelids and hence involves the upper and the lower eyelid. Cutaneous melanoma generally develops due to excessive exposure to UV light in adult Caucasians. It appears as a variably pigmented mass that can bleed or ulcerate. The neural tumors of the eyelid include neurofibroma, schwannoma, and Merkel cell carcinoma. Solitary neurofibroma is usually a circumscribed subcutaneous nodular lesion of variable size, or they are multifocal or diffuse lesions associated with type 1 neurofibromatosis. Painful presentation indicates perineural involvement. Plexiform neurofibroma is considered pathognomic of von Recklinghausen's disease. The eyelid thickening presents as S-shaped eyelid, and the eyelid involvement usually extends to deeper planes. Vascular tumors of the eyelid. Infantile capillary hemangiomas are benign vascular masses present since birth or within few weeks after birth. These superficial periocular red vascular macules enlarge till 3 to 6 months after diagnosis, stabilize by 12 to 18 months of age, and then slowly involute. The deeper lesions, however, are blue-gray, soft on palpation, which become prominent on crying or straining and can be associated with proptosis. Complete physical examination is necessary, as extensive hemangiomatosis is a possibility with visceral involvement. In cases with possible functional impairment like strabismus or amblyopia, oral propranolol, with or without additional intralesional steroids, is considered the standard of care with excellent results. The eyelid varices present as small, compressible, cyst-like vermiform lesions causing eyelid thickening and distortion. Lymphangioma, on the other hand, is a hematomatous growth of lymph channels, presenting as dark bluish soft fluctuant mass occurring since birth and slowly enlarging. Eyelid varices and lymphangiomas are dealt with percutaneous cyst aspiration and ablation with sclerosing agents. Several benign lesions undergo spontaneous regression. Small lesions can be managed with simple excision with direct reconstruction, and larger lesions require Mohs chemosurgery or surgical excision with intra-op frozen section guided margin control, followed by eyelid reconstruction for appropriate cosmetic rehabilitation. Even though painless, an orbital extension can present with pain due to perineural spread, with or without cutaneous anesthesia, ptosis, diplopia, or globe displacement. It is mandatory to assess the extent of invasion radiologically in these cases. Orbital exentration is the treatment of choice in such cases with complete systemic assessment. The art of identifying the eyelid lesions in our world is not confined to accurate diagnosis, but extends to optimal artistic surgical resection and provision of appropriate cosmetic rehabilitation with minimal morbidity and mortality. Therefore, it is important to master the art of decoding the deceptive spectrum of eyelid lesions.